This is Max, and boy am I excited. I told a good friend of mine, Sean, and his pal Gus, our crew there in Hawaii, that I'm going to teach them how to paint signs, and today we're going to do that. And after looking into it, I decided there's a lot to know just before you can get started. So what we're going to do is get started with the list of things you need to start. First thing on that list, mineral spirits. Odor list. I'll make a list of this stuff and where you can get it. This odorless mineral spirits you can get right there at the hardware store. You also need a couple paint brushes. I'll list below what those are, but basically it's a MAC, number 7, maybe number 8. No, I take it back. It's going to be a number 8, and the serial number or the model number for this is 179. I've got some 189s here. I don't like them. You can get whatever you want. I'm recommending you use the 179s. You get yourself a number 8 and a number 3. We're going to be doing some other stuff like pinstriping and airbrushing some of these signs that I've got planned for these guys. But to start, it's a number 8 and a number 3. You're also going to need Stabilo. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's a pencil. I'll put that on the list below. You need a blue one and a white one. So, well, and as a container for putting your mineral spirits in, you need 4 of these. Baby food jars. They're perfect. They're glass. They clean up nice. They're awesome. You need a good solid 4 of them. And not the big ones. Get the get the little baby food jars. You need 4 of those. Paint. One-shot sign paint. That's what we paint with. Even with the airbrush. When you're putting airbrush in signs, you thin down the one-shot and you spray it over the one-shot. Black, blue, and white. It's just to get started. You're going to be painting a lot more stuff. And with some different colors and stuff. But I'm trying to give you just a list just to get started so you can paint your first sign. Of course, you'll need some kind of book. I use a phone book. But any old magazine or something like that will do that you can put your paints on. Another thing I need you to buy is oil for your brushes. I love this stuff. It's called, Custom Shop Brush Preserving Oil. Love this. I've tried a bunch of different oils in my brushes. Again, different brush sign painters and stuff will say different stuff to put in their brushes. Love this stuff. Going to make you buy that. And then you're going to need some of this. It's called Smoothie. It's just, we'll talk about that later, but you got to have it. Anyway, you're going to need a book, the brushes, and of course some Dixie cups for mixing your paints in. And something to carry it all in. Actually, I found this box and it holds a bunch of the stuff, but it doesn't hold all of it that well. Like I can't get my stuff in there. A box for your stuff to carry it around. You're also going to need some 1/8 inch masking tape, which is kind of hard to come by. I'll have to look it up and put in the description below. You need a minimum of one row of that. We're going to end up using that. And also some of this plastic tape. I don't even know what it's called. We'll have to figure that out and list that below also. You're also going to need some paper towels, but I figure everybody's got paper towels. You don't have to make a special trip. Anyway, here's a self-tapping screw with a hex head on it that I use for putting in the cans of paint. I have a little demonstration prepared that I can show you how to put that in there. So you're going to need these screws. Super important. Do not open your can of paint and look at the paint until you watch the part of this video where I discuss how to put these cans in it. It'll save you a lot of paint if you do so. Also, some of that paint, it's one shot. You get the smallest can they make. They make pretty little cans. And the paint goes a long way. Just for now, until you become a hot shot sign painter, when you know you're going to be needing tons of paint, just get the smallest can you can get. And sometimes they sell that stuff at auto paint guys. Sometimes they'll throw a bunch in there. even along with a couple pinstriping brushes that we're going to talk about some other time too. But gather up some of the stuff. I know it's expensive. I know it's a hassle going out and buying this stuff, but unless you own a football, you can't be a football player. And that's just how it works. So you got to spend the money on this. Keep it as cheap as you can, but you have to have it. And that's it. That's all you need in the paint department. Okay, next thing you need, we're going to paint a sign that says aloha on it because I like the word. And one of the things that I've been working with fonts for many years. I can take that white grease pencil and lay out a really pretty word that says aloha. We're going to paint aloha on a sign here. But I'm going to show you how you can do it and make it look absolutely perfect. What I did was I went onto Photoshop. You don't really need Photoshop so long as you just have a picture of the word. And I printed it out as an outline, just the word aloha. And that was the prettiest one I could find. I will post this or a JPEG of it down below, of course. But I decided that I wanted to paint it on a sign this big. You got to buy something like this. You can paint your sign on wood. You can paint anything, so long as it's smooth. I like to spray paint my sign so it's perfectly smooth. It imitates a car, how smooth it is. So what I did is I went to True Value, and they've got this metal. This is 22 gauge metal. I don't know what they use it for. Stuff's awesome. It's sturdy. It makes for a great signage that I paint a lot of my pinstripey stuff on. And I just love this stuff. And I paint the back side of it just because it's raw metal. I'll do a section on this. But basically what I do is I take some acetone, wipe it down, and just spray it. Let it dry for a day or two. Solid. And on the front I painted it red, so we're going to paint aloha on there. But this aloha that I printed out was too small. So what I did is I blew it up on the copy machine, and to get it to the size that I wanted it, came out in 2 pieces. So the 2 pieces, to get them together, I hooked them up to my custom light table. At my work, I have some light tables, but here at home, I don't. And I taped those together. And once I had them taped together, I flipped it over, and on the back side, again using my custom light table, I took some of that white grease pencil, I call it a grease pencil, not sure what it is, the Stabilo, and I rubbed it pretty good on the back of the letters. Like once you hold it up, you could see through to the light table, you can see through, and I just scrubbed along where it goes. Once I had that done, I put this exactly centered where I wanted it on my sign, taped it down pretty good, and sat there and took my time and went right along the lines, which gave me my word aloha laid out on this sign. It's laid out on here, a little bit higher than center. Don't know if you can see that. I'll have the camera take a closer up picture. But no, there it is. I got my aloha sign on here. It's going to be really pretty when we're done. I got my metal coated. I'll have to change the hangers on the back so it hangs sideways. But holy schmoly, are we going to have fun with this? But I'm going to show you what I do to put that screw in the lid and why. So what I just happen to have here is a new can of paint. It comes with these really dumb clips on it. I just dig a screwdriver in there. Oops. And you pop those babies off. And they usually go kaboing when you get them off. There we go. And the way I do it is I get not all the way touching that first lip right there, but just inside of there a little bit. I hold that like that, and I take a hammer, and you get that baby started. And only until you can get it twisting. I've got a bite. So what I do is I take my pliers, or just a wrench the size of the thing, and I just screw that in. what I forgot to tell you or forgot to do was, hey, shake the can up first. Paint's made up of a carrier and different paints and hardeners. So that's why paint always needs to be shook up. What happens is if you just pop the lid off this and pour it, put the lid back on, the oxygen that gets to that top level of paint will harden it. Every time you pop that open, you've got this hardened skin that you have to deal with. And for years, I would have to take a screwdriver and take that skin out. And then I'd stir it up, and I would get a screwdriver full of paint and drop it in the cup and get a screwdriver. This eliminates that. Anyway, I'm going to shake it up now. What happens is paint is seeping out where the bolt is. And that paint is drying along that bolt. Is when I take this screw out, the paint has hardened around those threads, so it threads out of the paint. I set that down, take that, and I put it in here like an oil can. I squeeze it like a klunka, 2, 3, and I count. Now the paint's hovering around the top, and I put the screw right back in. What this does is it doesn't allow oxygen into the can, which means you don't develop that skin that I told you that you have to get off of there. And it allows you to use this can of paint all the way down to literally the last drop. And once I figured that out and started doing that, I saved so much on paint. And I tried to tell other sign painters about it, and they refused to do it. And I'm telling you now. And don't forget, if it looks like any of this was helpful, reach out and click that like button, because this is awesome. And another thing you need to do is subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, because I need subscribers to keep this going.